Hello, my dear friends.
Take a slow breath and imagine the world becoming quiet around you. The night is calm, and you are settling into a soft, comfortable space. Now, let's take a gentle step back in time, far back, more than 3,000 years ago, into the warm, golden air of ancient Egypt. Imagine you are standing on the soft sand near the Nile River. The sky is turning a deep blue as the sun begins to set, casting long shadows over the water. A quiet breeze touches your skin, carrying the faint scent of lotus flowers. Somewhere in the distance, you hear the slow rhythm of a boat moving across the river. The world feels peaceful, still, almost sleepy. As the gentle night grows around you, let us take a slow walk toward a place rarely seen by ordinary people. The private palace of the Pharaoh. This is not the grand public palace where the king holds ceremonies or meets officials. This is the hidden world behind those tall stone walls, a quiet sanctuary where the pharaoh's wives, daughters, attendants, musicians, and companions live. Walk with me slowly, as the torches flicker softly along the palace entrance. The walls glow a warm gold painted with scenes of gods, queens, and sacred animals. The air inside is cooler, with the faint smell of oils, sweet almond, fresh myrrh, and a soft hint of sandalwood. As you step inside, the atmosphere becomes even calmer. You can hear the gentle splash of water from a courtyard fountain. A few palace women walk past you, dressed in soft linen gowns, their movements slow and graceful. Their long hair is braided with beads. Their skin glows with fragrant oils. No one rushes. Everything is quiet, controlled, and deeply peaceful. Tonight we will fall asleep while exploring this hidden world. The calm, day-to-day life of women inside the Pharaoh's palace. Their routines, their responsibilities, their joys, their friendships, their quiet moments of luxury, and the serene rhythm of a life shaped by rituals and beauty. So let's gently begin, and let your mind settle deeper into this ancient, soothing world, as the night wraps around you like soft linen. As you move deeper into the Pharaoh's private palace, the world outside slowly fades away, leaving behind only soft sounds, warm light, and an overwhelming sense of peace. The palace corridors are wide and cool, built from smooth limestone polished until it shines gently under the glow of oil lamps. Each step echoes softly, but not sharply. The sound is mellow, swallowed by the thick woven carpets and the fragrant air that fills the halls. The palace scent is a gentle mixture of lotus, honeyed oils, and fresh papyrus, creating a calm environment that almost invites your mind to drift into quiet reflection. As you walk slowly, the walls display delicate paintings of royal women, queens sitting gracefully under palm trees, princesses playing harp-like instruments, and attendants preparing jars of scented oils. These paintings are not loud or dramatic. They feel peaceful, like memories captured in soft colors. You enter a large open courtyard where the sky above is a deep, endless blue sprinkled with early stars. In the center, a small pool reflects the sky like a piece of quiet night captured in stone. Lily pads float on the water, glowing faintly in the torchlight, and a few palace women sit nearby, talking in gentle voices that blend into the sound of the water. Their laughter isn't sharp or loud. It is soft, like bells heard from far away. They wear long white linen dresses that fall lightly over their skin, the fabric thin enough to feel like a whisper against the warm Egyptian air. Their hair glimmers with oil, braided neatly, decorated with tiny beads or gold threads that move softly when they tilt their heads. These women are not rushing, not stressed, not pulled by the world. Their lives are shaped by a slow rhythm, a rhythm designed to keep the palace calm, harmonious, and beautiful. As you continue, a group of attendants walks past carrying small trays of fruits, figs, dates, pomegranates, arranged carefully for the royal household. The women move in perfect coordination, their feet silent on the cool floor. Their expressions are serene, trained to maintain a calm presence at all times. They belong to a world where every gesture, every step, every word is meant to reflect the quiet dignity of the royal family. You might notice the faint sound of a string instrument coming from another room, played by a musician whose job is to maintain a gentle, soothing atmosphere within the palace. The music is slow and repetitive, flowing like the Nile at night, made to ease the mind and settle the spirit. As you move deeper inside, you enter the private quarters reserved for the Pharaoh's wives and daughters. These rooms are more intimate, filled with soft curtains, low couches covered in fine linen, and small carved boxes that hold jewelry, oils, and combs. Lamps glow in the corners with warm, golden light that makes the rooms feel safe and enclosed, like a quiet nest hidden from the world. The women here live a life surrounded by gentle luxury, not loud splendor, but soft comfort. A princess sits by a window brushing her hair slowly, humming a melody that drifts peacefully across the room. Two attendants sit nearby, weaving thin threads of gold into a long braid, their hands moving with patient precision. Nothing in this palace feels rushed. Even time seems to slow down, stretching into long, calm moments that flow into one another. In this quiet world, the women of the Pharaoh's palace are both sheltered and cherished. Their days follow a soothing rhythm of self-care, rituals, social time, music, and moments of peaceful reflection. And as you stand here, in these gentle rooms, surrounded by soft light and soft voices, the beauty of this ancient world begins to feel comforting, warm, almost like a place where you could rest, breathe deeply, and let the noise of the modern world fade away. When dawn begins to touch the sky over ancient Egypt, the palace does not wake with sudden noise or quick footsteps. Instead, morning arrives slowly, almost shyly, as if it is taking its time to spread across the quiet halls. A pale golden light slips through the high stone windows and settles softly on the polished floors. The women of the Pharaoh's palace wake in this calm glow, stretching gently from their linen beds, their minds still floating in the peaceful space between sleep and waking. There is no rush, no hurried voices, no sharp commands. The day begins like a whispered invitation to ease into the rhythm of another serene morning. The first moments of their day are spent in silence. Many women sit beside small clay basins filled with cool water from the Nile, touching their faces lightly, washing away the warmth of sleep. The water feels fresh, like a quiet blessing from the river that gives life to their entire world. Some rub their skin with scented oils, lotus, sweet almond, or a touch of frankincense, letting the fragrance settle over them like a soft veil. This routine is not meant to impress anyone. It is a ritual of calm, a way of embracing the day with gentleness and care. The women move slowly, their hands graceful and unhurried, as if each part of the morning deserves its own small moment of attention. Once they are ready, they wrap themselves in light linen dresses, smooth and soft, falling in long folds. The fabric is cool against their skin and flows around them with every step like a quiet breath. Their hair, usually washed and oiled the night before, is braided or brushed with patient strokes. The sound of wooden combs creates a slow, soothing rhythm in the room. Some women add small touches of makeup, a soft line of kohl around the eyes, a hint of red pigment on the lips, nothing bold or loud, just enough to reflect the beauty that Egyptian culture cherished. Even these touches are applied gently, with calm movements that continue the softness of the morning. After dressing, many women step into shaded courtyards or open balconies where the early air feels lighter, cooler than the warmth still held inside the palace walls. They breathe in deeply, letting the scent of fresh flowers and damp stone fill their lungs. Birds perched on the carved roof edges begin their morning chirps, their tiny songs blending into the peaceful atmosphere. The palace garden, with its rows of papyrus, lotus ponds, and date palms, becomes a place of slow wandering. A princess might take a calm walk with 2 attendants by her side, touching the petals of lotus flowers drifting on still water. Another woman might sit beneath a palm tree, running her fingers over small prayer beads, whispering a soft morning blessing for health, harmony, and protection. Meanwhile, the servants prepare light breakfasts, bowls of figs, slices of fresh bread, honey, dates, and small cups of cool milk. The food is simple, comforting, and nourishing, offered on low trays that are placed before the women with quiet respect. Some sit together, sharing soft conversations about dreams, family news, or the rituals planned for the day. Their voices never rise. They stay gentle and warm, creating a sense of sisterhood that flows easily among them. Every morning in the Pharaoh's palace feels like an embrace, safe, calm, and wrapped in the timeless stillness of ancient luxury. And as the sun continues to rise, brushing the white palace walls with a deeper gold, the women ease into the day with peaceful hearts, knowing that their time belongs to a world designed to protect them, beautify them, and surround them with every form of tranquility. Their mornings feel like a soft beginning to a long story, one written in sunlight, fragrances, and gentle rituals that make even time itself slow down. Life inside the Pharaoh's palace may look like a world of comfort and beauty, but the women who lived there followed gentle yet meaningful routines that shaped the rhythm of their days. Their responsibilities were not heavy or rushed. Instead, they flowed softly through time, like the slow movement of the Nile. Each woman held a role that fit into the delicate harmony of palace life, and these roles gave their days a sense of purpose, calm structure, and quiet dignity. The palace was a grand and powerful place, yet the work the women did felt intimate, careful, and deeply connected to the traditions of ancient Egypt. Many palace women began their responsibilities with offerings and prayers, a peaceful ritual that honored the gods and asked for protection over the pharaoh and his household. They visited small shrines tucked inside private chambers or in open courtyards where sunlight touched the statues. Standing before small altars, they placed fresh flowers, tiny bowls of perfume, or clean grains of barley with slow, respectful movements. Their voices stayed soft, whispering simple prayers for harmony and good fortune. These morning offerings were not only religious duties, they were moments of reflection, grounding their minds in calmness before the day unfolded. Other women served in roles that required a gentle creativity. Some prepared perfumes, mixing oils in clay bowls with long-handled spoons. their motions unhurried and graceful. They chose lotus oil for sweetness, myrrh for warmth, or cedar for a deeper scent, blending them with care until each perfume smelled like a quiet dream. The soft fragrance filled the room, settling into the air like a delicate blanket. These perfumes were used by the royal family, offered in rituals, or placed in small alabaster jars for special occasions. The women who crafted these scents were known for their steady hands and peaceful energy, turning simple ingredients into something elegant and cherished. Some women tended to the palace's collection of clothes and fabrics, ensuring that every linen dress, woven shawl, or embroidered wrap was kept in perfect condition. They worked in cool rooms lined with chests filled with delicate garments. Their fingers moved slowly across the cloth, smoothing folds, mending tiny threads, and arranging each piece carefully. The quiet rustle of linen and the soft brushing of fabric created a soothing rhythm around them. These women understood the importance of beauty and order in palace life, and their care made the wardrobe of the royal family feel like a living gallery of elegance. Musicians and dancers within the palace also held a special role among the women. Though they did not perform with loud excitement, their art was soft and serene, meant to bring calm to royal gatherings. A harp player might spend part of the day practicing gentle melodies in her chamber, her fingers moving lightly across the strings, creating notes that drifted through the palace like whispers. A dancer might rehearse slow, flowing movements in front of a polished stone wall, her steps following the rhythm of her own breathing. Their work was not only artistic but also soothing, offering the palace a sense of grace that blended effortlessly with its quiet atmosphere. And then there were the women who spent part of their day assisting the queen or princesses. Their tasks were gentle and personal, arranging hair, helping with jewelry, preparing small bowls of fruit, or reading letters and messages. These interactions carried a soft closeness, a sense of trust and understanding. The women moved with careful respect, always aware that their presence was meant to bring comfort, ease, and support. Throughout the day, none of these responsibilities felt rushed. There were pauses, breaths, and long moments of silence between tasks. The palace was filled with life, but never with noise. The women worked with calm hearts, their steps slow and steady, their voices low and soothing. Their duties connected them not just to the royal family, but to the ancient rhythm of Egypt itself, a rhythm built on respect, tranquility, and timeless grace. By early afternoon, their responsibilities flowed naturally into moments of rest, reflection, or companionship, and the palace remained wrapped in an atmosphere that made even the simplest tasks feel peaceful, almost sacred. Life inside the Pharaoh's palace was not only about quiet duties and graceful routines. It was also a world shaped by the relationships the women built with one another. Soft bonds formed through shared moments, whispered conversations, and the steady presence of familiar faces. Even in a place filled with power and ceremony, the women created a social world that was calm, comforting, and woven together with subtle warmth. These connections made the palace feel less like an enormous institution and more like a living community with its own gentle heartbeat. The palace was a vast place, but certain rooms became gathering points for the women. Courtyards with shady trees, cool corridors lined with stone pillars, and small terraces overlooking gardens often turned into quiet meeting spots. Here, Women sat on woven mats or low stools, their backs resting against warm stone walls as they talked in soft voices. Their conversations were never loud or hurried. They flowed like the Nile at dusk, smooth, steady, and peaceful. They spoke about their families, simple memories from childhood, or small details from their daily routines. Laughter was gentle, almost like a murmur, blending naturally into the quiet air around them. Friendships formed slowly and gracefully within these walls. Women found comfort in those who shared similar duties, similar ages, or simply a similar temperament. A perfume maker might grow close to a musician because both appreciated quiet creativity. A handmaiden might spend time with a seamstress because they worked in neighboring rooms and often crossed paths. These friendships did not need grand gestures or dramatic moments. They grew from shared glances, helping hands, and peaceful companionship during long, warm afternoons. Trust, too, was important in the palace's social world. With so many people living close together, the women relied on one another for emotional support and calm understanding. They kept each other's worries safe and listened when someone needed to speak quietly about a difficult day. They celebrated small joys as gently as they comforted each other through quiet sorrows. Even though the palace was a place of hierarchy, with some women holding higher positions and others working in simpler roles, there was a sense of shared humanity that softened the differences between them. There were moments of shared activities as well, moments that made the palace feel like a calm tapestry of social life. Some women sat together to weave threads into fabric, their hands moving in a steady rhythm that brought a soothing unity to their work. Others prepared baskets of fruit or flower garlands side by side, the scents of fresh petals or sweet figs creating a comforting atmosphere around them. Sometimes a musician would gently play her harp in the background as others worked or chatted, her soft notes drifting through the room like warm air. These shared tasks transformed ordinary duties into quiet rituals of togetherness. In the late afternoons, when the sun softened and shadows stretched across the palace stones, the social world became even more peaceful. Women sometimes gathered to watch the light fade over the gardens, sharing a moment of stillness before they returned to their evening routines. These moments were the heart of their relationships, not filled with excitement, but filled with a deep, gentle understanding that made palace life feel less overwhelming. It was a reminder that even in the middle of a royal household, where traditions and expectations shaped every hour, there was room for friendship, warmth, and simple human connection. Many of the women found comfort in these small interactions, cherishing the sense of belonging they brought. In the quiet social world of the palace, every soft conversation, every shared smile, and every peaceful moment helped create a sense of community that supported them through the rhythms of their lives. These bonds wove invisible threads through their days, connecting each woman to a network of calm companionship that made the palace feel alive, gentle, and filled with serene humanity. As the soft evening settles over the Pharaoh's palace, imagine yourself walking slowly through a long corridor where golden lamps flicker like tiny stars. The marble beneath your feet feels cool, and the air around you carries a gentle warmth mixed with the faint scent of lotus flowers. This is the time when palace life becomes quieter, softer, and the women of the palace begin to enjoy the small comforts that belong only to the night. Inside one of the private chambers, a group of royal women gather for their evening music. A young musician sits on a small cushioned seat, holding a harp carved from acacia wood. Her fingers move slowly, creating soft, sweeping notes that echo like ripples over calm water. Nearby, another woman shakes a light sistrum, the sound tiny and delicate like tiny bells whispering in the air. These moments are not performances. They are ways of breathing out the noise of the day, letting the heart settle gently after palace duties, rituals, and endless expectations. Music in these rooms is not loud or grand. It is intimate, slow, and soothing, almost like a lullaby made for grown women who spend their lives behind walls of power and duty. As the soft sounds fill the chamber, another group of women sit closer to the window where the moonlight falls in silver lines on the floor. They mix oils and perfumes, a small nightly ritual they love, almost like a personal meditation. A servant brings bowls of crushed lotus petals, almond oil, honey, and exotic herbs brought from distant lands. The women blend them with quiet focus, creating balms for their skin and hair. Perfumes are not only for beauty in the palace, they are symbols of peace, purity, and self-care. In these quiet hours, the women feel more like themselves, not advisors, not companions, not royal attendants, just women who want a moment to breathe. Imagine one of them dipping her fingers into the mixture and gently rubbing the oil onto her arms. The fragrance rises slowly, soft and floral, like a gentle sigh. She closes her eyes for a moment, letting the scent wrap around her like a blanket. These small acts of comfort are precious to palace women, because much of their life is built around formality, control, and responsibility. Only at night do they allow themselves to relax their shoulders, to smile softly, to share stories that feel too personal for the daytime hours. Another part of the palace becomes alive in a quieter way. A few women gather near a small indoor garden where a pool reflects the moonlight. They dip their feet into the cool water, talking in low, calm voices. Their conversations drift from childhood memories to dreams of the future, to simple thoughts about the day. They speak slowly, with long pauses, letting their words float gently between them. Palace nights are the only time they truly belong to themselves, and the cool water against their skin makes the stress of the day wash away slowly, like sand disappearing beneath a tide. In a separate chamber, a royal tutor reads softly to one of the Pharaoh's daughters. The young princess lies on a cushioned bed as the tutor recites ancient stories of gods and goddesses. Her voice is gentle, rhythmic, almost musical. Stories about Isis bringing protection, stories about Hathor bringing joy, stories about Nut spreading the sky like a mother's arms across the world. The princess listens with half-closed eyes, feeling safe in the warm glow of the oil lamp beside her. These bedtime stories are not only tales, they are emotional anchors, guiding young royal women toward understanding their place in the world with calmness and confidence. As the night grows deeper, the palace grows even quieter. Torches burn lower, footsteps fade away, and somewhere in the distance, a water fountain continues its soft, steady trickle. Most of the women return to their private rooms. Some meditate, some write small notes on papyrus, reflections of the day, prayers for the next sunrise. Others simply sit near their window, watching the stars, feeling the cool desert breeze brush their faces. In these gentle nighttime hours, the palace does not feel like a place of power. It feels like a sanctuary, a place where women who carry the weight of expectations can finally rest. Every sound softens, every emotion quiets, and every woman allows herself to dissolve into the calm flow of the night, letting the heart settle into a slow rhythm, peaceful, steady, and warm. As you rest here with them, the music fades into silence. The perfumes settle into the air, and the moonlight falls like a soft blanket over the palace. The night wraps everything in comfort, reminding these royal women, and you, that even in the grandest places, true peace comes from these gentle, quiet moments. As the night drifts deeper into the palace, imagine yourself stepping into another quiet corner where warm lamplight glows softly on the walls. This is a space where no official duties exist, no roles need to be played, and no one is expected to be perfect. It is in these hidden corners of the Pharaoh's palace that the deepest friendships between women quietly bloom. Friendships that are rarely written in history, yet they shape the heartbeat of palace life. Picture two women sitting close together on a low-cushioned bench. One is brushing the long, dark hair of the other. The strokes are slow, gentle, almost rhythmic, like the soothing motion of waves touching the shore. They speak in soft whispers, sharing small secrets of the day, things they could never say aloud in the busy halls of the palace. These whispered conversations are the threads that weave trust. In a world ruled by strict hierarchy and expectations, these bonds are the places where their hearts can finally relax. Another pair of women sit near a clay lamp, mending delicate linen dresses. Their hands move with practiced ease, needle and thread in quiet harmony. But this nightly sewing is not just work. It is companionship. While their fingers stitch fabric, their voices stitch thoughts, fears, dreams. One speaks about her wish to travel beyond the palace walls one day. The other smiles gently, imagining the warm sun on open fields. They know such dreams may remain only dreams, but sharing them still brings comfort, like blowing the dust off a hidden corner of the soul. Across the courtyard, three young attendants sit together with bowls of dates and honeyed figs. They giggle softly, covering their mouths, so the sound echoes only lightly. Their laughter feels like a warm breeze passing through the night, soft, joyful, untouched by the formal tone of daytime life. They tease each other about small things, a clumsy moment earlier in the day, a compliment from an old priest, or the way one of them always falls asleep during long prayers. These moments are simple, but inside the palace, simplicity is a luxury. Their joy becomes a secret language, known only to them. Not all friendships here are loud or playful. Some are quiet, built from silent understanding. Imagine two older palace women sitting side by side, watching the moon through an open archway. They say nothing, yet their closeness tells a story. They have seen many seasons together. They have shared grief, supported each other in sickness, and stood strong through countless political tensions. Their friendship is not shaped by words. It is shaped by presence, by knowing the other is near, by understanding without needing to ask. Even the Pharaoh's daughters find companionship among the women assigned to guide them. A young princess sits with her nurse, resting her head gently on the older woman's shoulder. The nurse hums a quiet tune, the same lullaby she has sung since the princess was a child. It is in these small moments that the princess feels most human, not a symbol of the future, not a child of divine blood, but simply a little girl who wants comfort before falling asleep. In return, the women feel honored to be trusted with such fragile, tender parts of the royal child's heart. Friendships inside the palace are delicate because life here is filled with expectations, competition, and the pressure to appear perfect. And yet, that is exactly why these bonds feel so precious. They create islands of peace inside a sea of responsibility. Every shared smile, every soft laugh, every secret confession whispered under the moon becomes a gentle reminder that even in a place of grand beauty, the soul still needs closeness. Imagine all these women, the young attendants, the royal advisors, the seamstresses, the princesses, the musicians, connected by these invisible threads of trust and affection. Threads so soft you cannot see them, yet so strong they hold the palace together from the inside. These relationships give the palace warmth, turning it from a cold monument of power into a home that breathes with emotions, hopes, and quiet companionship. As the night deepens, these friendships soften the palace air, making it feel lighter, warmer, more human. The bonds between the women glow like tiny lamps in the darkness, quiet, steady, and full of comfort. And as the hours drift toward midnight, these shared moments fill their hearts with calmness, preparing them for whatever tomorrow may bring. As the night settles deeper into the palace and the cool breeze moves through the carved stone corridors, imagine stepping into another soft, glowing space of the Pharaoh's home. This part of the palace feels almost like a dream. The air is warm and sweet, filled with the soft fragrance of lotus oil and freshly crushed herbs. Lamps shine with a golden glow, and shadows move slowly across the walls like drifting clouds. It is here, in these peaceful rooms, that the women of the palace practice the quiet arts that bring beauty, harmony, and comfort into their world. Imagine entering a room where a group of women sit around a low table. In front of them are small bowls filled with flowers, oils, and powdered resins. They are making perfumes, soft, calming scents meant to soothe the mind and please the senses. One woman crushes petals between smooth stones, releasing a soft, natural fragrance into the air. Another gently mixes the oils until they shimmer like warm honey. Their movements are slow, careful, almost graceful, like a dance without music. These perfumes are more than beauty. They are a form of therapy, a way for the women to wash away the stress of the day. When they touch the fragrant oil to their wrists or behind their ears, it feels like brushing away worries, letting silence settle into the heart. Some scents are for relaxation, some are for ceremonies, others are simply for small moments of comfort. And as they blend these fragrances, their voices remain soft, almost whisper-like, as if the oils themselves are listening. In another corner of the palace, the gentle sound of a harp fills the air. A young musician sits beside the tall wooden instrument, her fingers moving slowly across the strings. Each note is delicate and warm, like drops of light falling onto water. Two other women sit nearby with small hand drums and reed flutes. They play softly, carefully, blending their music into a slow, soothing rhythm that seems to calm the whole room. This is not loud entertainment. This is not performance for crowds. This is music created for stillness, for relaxation, for the quiet peace that nighttime brings. The women play to soothe each other, to let their breathing slow, to let the palace settle into a gentle, dreamlike mood. Some close their eyes as they listen. Some sway slightly with the rhythm, and for a little while, The palace feels like a sanctuary of harmony. There is also a room where artists sit with smooth stone palettes and tiny brushes. They paint delicate scenes onto thin papyrus sheets, lotus ponds, graceful birds, gentle faces of the gods. Their brushstrokes are soft and slow, almost floating across the surface. Painting is their way of slipping into silence. Every stroke quiets the mind. Every image becomes a doorway to calmness. The women do not rush. They breathe softly, sinking into the rhythm of creation. Nearby, a group of palace women practice gentle movement, a slow, flowing dance taught to them by generations before. Their hands glide through the air. Their feet touch the ground lightly. The dance is not meant for performance, but for healing. It loosens the body, relaxes the muscles, and creates a harmony between breath and motion. As they move, the soft light of the torches flickers across their graceful silhouettes, making them look like drifting spirits of the night. And in a quiet corner of the same hall, an older woman grinds herbs into fine powder. She is well known in the palace for her knowledge of calming recipes, teas that soothe the nerves, oils that help with sleep, balms that ease the tightness of long days. She mixes dried chamomile, crushed lavender, and mint leaves. When the warm water is poured over them, the aroma rises like a soft cloud, filling the room with warmth and comfort. The women gather to sip slowly, letting the warmth travel through their bodies, relaxing every muscle. These gentle arts, music, perfume, dance, painting, herbal craft, weave a layer of peace through the palace, especially at night. They give the women a chance to breathe, to feel, to simply be. In a world where roles are strict and expectations are high, these creative moments are their freedom. Their heart rests here, their thoughts quiet here, their spirits stretch out like soft feathers. As you imagine these rooms filled with light, fragrance, and soft melodies, feel the calmness settling over everything. The palace no longer feels grand or overwhelming. It feels warm. It feels human. It feels like a place where the night slows down time itself. And as the gentle arts continue, you can sense the entire palace sinking deeper into peace, preparing for the soft silence that midnight brings. Imagine now that the night has deepened even further inside the palace. The lamps burn lower, their golden flames shifting softly like breaths. The corridors are quieter, the gardens calmer, and all the busy sounds of the day have faded away. In this peaceful moment, the palace women drift toward one another, gathering in small circles where the worries of the day melt into gentle conversation. They are not princesses, not attendants, not noble daughters here. They are simply women sharing the same world, the same routines, the same quiet hours before sleep. In one of the warm, softly lit chambers, a group of them sit together on cushions arranged in a loose circle. The floor beneath them smells faintly of cedar, and a cool breeze moves through the room. Some women are braiding each other's hair, their fingers moving slowly, combing through strands with patient care. Hair braiding in the palace is more than grooming. It is a kind of bonding, a silent way of comforting one another. When one woman rests her head on another's lap, it feels like leaning into trust. When their fingers brush the scalp, it becomes a wordless promise that they are here for each other, in a place where emotions cannot always be spoken openly. Nearby, two younger women giggle quietly as they share stories of the day. Their voices are soft so as not to disturb the calm, but the warmth in their eyes reveals a deep connection. They talk about small things, a funny moment during the morning lessons, a mistake made while preparing perfume, a dream someone had the night before. These small moments weave their friendships together, making the large, intimidating palace feel more like a home. Even in a world ruled by formality and rituals, laughter still rises like little sparks of light. In another corner, an older maid and a noble-born lady sit together, enjoying a slow cup of herbal tea. In most places, their positions would keep them apart. But in the quiet of night, when the demands of rank fade into the shadows, they speak as equals, as women who understand the weight of expectations. The older woman shares wisdom she has gathered from years of serving, while the younger one listens with genuine respect. Their bond forms not from duty, but from shared tenderness, shared struggles, shared hopes. Sometimes the women gather in the garden instead, sitting close to the lotus pond where the moonlight touches the water in silver ripples. Here, silence becomes its own kind of conversation. One woman might hum a soft melody, another might rest her head on her friend's shoulder, a third may simply close her eyes and breathe in the night air. These peaceful gatherings give them a sense of belonging in a vast palace where loneliness could easily slip in. Together, they create their own little community, bound not by titles but by hearts that recognize one another. There are moments, too, when a woman is sad, overwhelmed, or simply tired from the expectations placed upon her. When that happens, the others notice without needing to ask. A gentle hand rests on her arm. Someone places a warm shawl around her shoulders. Someone else pours her tea and speaks in a soft voice. The palace can be strict, even cold in its grandeur. But between these women there exists a quiet, deeply rooted sisterhood that softens every hard edge. It is the kind of connection that makes the long days bearable and the long nights beautiful. Sometimes they share stories of their families far away. A mother who taught them how to make bread, a father who helped them read their first scripture, a little sibling who used to follow them everywhere. These stories, told in the stillness of night, remind them of who they were before the palace doors closed behind them. They bring warmth into their hearts and make the palace feel less like a world of stone and more like a place where memories live. At other times, the women simply lie back on cushions, staring up at the high ceiling where shadows drift like soft clouds. They talk about dreams, not only the ones they will have when they sleep, but the dreams they hold for the future. Some dream of motherhood, some dream of teaching, some dream of quiet happiness, whether inside the palace walls or beyond them. These whispered hopes float through the room like feathers, gentle and weightless, and among all of them, there is always one guiding truth, that even in a palace ruled by power and ceremony, their shared moments of companionship are the true treasures. They learn over time that friendship is their refuge, that kindness becomes their strength, that laughter, even whispered, can brighten the darkest of halls. As you picture these women leaning close to each other, sharing warmth, sharing comfort, sharing breath, you can feel the soft heartbeat of the palace, not the grand heartbeat of kings and rituals, but the simple, human one of connection. It is a reminder that even in the most royal place in all of Egypt, what matters most at the end of the day is the gentle company of those who understand you. And now, as their conversations grow quieter and the night deepens fully, the palace feels wrapped in a warm blanket of sisterhood, one that will hold until the morning sun touches the golden walls again. As the night settles more deeply over the palace, another quieter, more tender side of life begins to breathe beneath the silence. This is the part of palace life that is rarely written on stone walls or recorded in scrolls. It is the soft world of affection, longing, and the private dreams that lived inside the hearts of the women. Though they were surrounded by wealth, rituals, and expectations, they were still human, still capable of yearning, still capable of love, still shaped by the gentle pull of emotion. Imagine the palace now bathed in moonlight, its long corridors washed in silver, its gardens glowing softly in the night breeze. In this stillness, some women sit near the open windows of their chambers, staring out into the darkness. Their eyes follow the slow drift of clouds or the shimmer of the Nile far beyond. These moments of quiet allow their deepest thoughts to rise. Perhaps they think of someone who once held their heart before palace life began, or someone they see every day but cannot speak to freely. Or perhaps they dream of a future where affection is simple, open, and not bound by duty. Inside the palace walls, love is complex. For many women, romantic emotions must remain hidden, like delicate flowers growing in the shade. They may not speak of their feelings openly, yet those feelings exist nonetheless, warm, soft, and persistent. Some feel a gentle admiration for a palace guard who passes by with respectful silence. Others feel a slow affection for a young scribe who brings scrolls to their chambers. Their eyes might meet for only a moment, but in that moment an entire world of quiet possibility unfolds. There are women, too, who feel a deep but unspoken bond with another woman in the palace. Their connection grows not from grand gestures, but from shared glances, soft laughter, and the way they seek each other out during evening gatherings. They sit a little closer than necessary. They braid each other's hair with extra tenderness. They understand each other in ways words cannot express. In a world that expects obedience and distance, these small, heartfelt connections become a precious escape, a private, gentle universe held carefully between two souls. Affection in the palace is rarely loud, never dramatic. It reveals itself in small, quiet gestures. Two hands brushing for just a moment longer than expected. A shawl placed on someone's shoulders on a chilly night. A soft smile shared across a room filled with silence. These delicate moments become the language of love, subtle but powerful, fleeting but unforgettable. At times the women speak softly among themselves, sharing tiny pieces of their hearts without naming names. One might say she dreams of a kind, steady presence walking beside her. Another whispers that someone's voice makes her feel calm. Another smiles shyly and says nothing, but her eyes reveal more than words ever could. These gentle confessions are held carefully by the others, respected and never repeated. The palace teaches them caution, but the nights teach them honesty. Some women write their feelings in small secret notes hidden in boxes tucked beneath woven cloth or kept in their jewelry chests. These notes hold memories, dreams, or simple sentences that bring comfort. They write not to send the message, but to feel the emotion fully, as though the act of writing allows their hearts to breathe. There are also women whose affection takes the shape of quiet devotion to the Pharaoh himself. Not loud admiration, not forced loyalty, but a soft, inner reverence for a man whose shadow shapes their world. They may never speak to him alone. They may only see him from a distance. Yet in their hearts a tiny flame of attachment glows, warm and steady, filling their days with a purpose they cannot easily explain. But just as often, love in the palace is simply the longing for freedom, the desire to choose one's companion, to walk hand in hand with someone without fear of gossip or judgment. These dreams flutter through the hearts of the women like small birds searching for open skies. They know the palace is a world of rules, but their spirits continue to whisper of what could be. Sometimes when the moon is bright, a woman sits alone in her chamber and lets her emotions spill gently into the night. She touches the jewelry on her table. She runs her fingers over the carved wooden edges of her bed, and she closes her eyes. In that private moment, she allows herself to feel everything: hope, tenderness, longing, possibility. These quiet, emotional nights are precious to her. They remind her that beneath the layers of silk, rituals, and expectations, she is still alive with feeling. The palace, for all its grandeur, cannot silence the human heart. Its walls may be thick, its rules may be strict, but love grows gently in hidden corners, in soft glances, in warm friendships, in quiet moments when the world is still. For the women of the Pharaoh's palace, affection becomes both a comfort and a secret, something delicate enough to be protected, yet strong enough to brighten their lives from within. And as the night continues to deepen, these emotions soften into peaceful thoughts. The women let their hearts quiet down, just as the palace settles into its slow, ancient rhythm. They breathe softly, they lie back on their cushions, and their feelings rest inside them like warm embers. Not fading, just glowing gently, the palace sleeps. The night holds them, and their tender, silent dreams drift into the darkness like floating petals on the Nile. As the palace drifts deeper into the calm of night, the world inside it begins to change. The warmth of the day, the footsteps in the corridors, the whispers of servants and the gentle activities of the women, all of it slowly dissolves into a quiet stillness. This is the time when the grand palace becomes almost like a living creature breathing slowly, settling its heavy stones into rest. And within these ancient walls, the women of the Pharaoh's household enter the most private, most peaceful part of their day, the hour when they begin to unwind, reflect, and prepare their minds for sleep. Imagine a long hallway lit only by soft oil lamps, their golden flames flickering gently against painted walls. The air is warm, carrying the faint scent of lotus and sweet resin. One by one, the women return to their chambers after the final duties and conversations of the evening. Their jewelry has been removed, their elaborate hairstyles unbraided, their silk and linen garments replaced with softer, looser robes meant only for comfort. It is in these quiet moments, when the palace feels almost like a cradle, that their hearts finally loosen and their thoughts unfold. Inside the chambers, the beds are soft but simple, woven frames covered with cloth filled with plant fibers or feathers. Nearby sit small wooden tables holding jars of scented oils, combs, polished copper mirrors, and little dishes of ointments meant to soothe the skin after the heat of the day. This is where the women begin the slow ritual of calming themselves. gently rubbing oil into their arms, their necks, the soles of their feet. The scent of blue lotus oil rises into the air, warm and sweet, known for bringing relaxation and a soft, dreamy calm. There is a deep slowness to these moments. Nothing is rushed. No instructions are given. No duties call out to them. Each breath becomes a small release, shoulders sinking a little lower, thoughts drifting a little softer, the body melting into the quiet. Some women sit on cushions beside their beds, letting the cool night air touch their skin. Others lie on their backs and stare at the delicate patterns painted on the ceiling. Stars, wings, flowers, ancient symbols that watch over them through the night. These designs are meant to guide their dreams, to connect them to the gods of the sky and protect them until dawn. As the palace settles, the women allow their minds to wander gently. They think about the day they lived, but without the sharpness of stress. Instead, they let the memories float, like boats drifting slowly on the surface of the Nile. They remember the small triumphs of the day, the conversations that brought warmth, the moments of laughter shared during work or meals. They also think of the quieter feelings they did not speak aloud, the hopes they carry, the questions they whisper only to themselves, the affection they feel in hidden corners of their hearts. But even these thoughts soften as sleep draws near. Nothing feels heavy anymore. The night takes the weight from their shoulders and replaces it with a soft, peaceful emptiness. Sometimes, before lying down, a woman will whisper a small prayer to the goddess of sleep or to the protective spirits who watch over the home. She may ask for peaceful dreams. She may ask for strength for the next day. Or she may simply give thanks for another night alive within the safety of the palace walls. These prayers are not spoken loudly. They are delicate, like the final exhale before relaxation begins. Once they settle into their beds, the room grows even quieter. The sound of their breathing becomes slow and rhythmic, blending softly with the distant night noises. The muted call of insects outside the windows, the gentle shifting of palm leaves in the wind, the faint movement of guards walking far below. All of these sounds combine into a calming background that lulls the mind into deeper rest. In this slow silence, the women feel their hearts ease into a comfortable rhythm. Their eyelids grow heavier. Their bodies grow warmer and still. There is a kind of magic in these palace nights. The world outside disappears, and the chambers become small islands of peace floating in the ocean of ancient darkness. The women feel the softness of their blankets, the coolness of the linen sheets against their skin, the gentle weight of their hair resting freely over their shoulders. The day no longer matters. The past no longer matters. Only the present remains. This quiet moment where the breath rises and falls like a tide. Dreams begin to arrive gently, slipping into their minds like soft waves. Some dream of gardens filled with lilies. Some dream of the Nile glowing under moonlight. Some dream of childhood memories, and some of futures they cannot yet see. A few dream of affection, of warm hands, kind eyes, or peaceful embraces that make their hearts glow. But the dreams come slowly, calmly, without urgency or fear. They drift in like clouds floating across a quiet sky. And so, through the long hours of the night, the palace becomes a sanctuary of sleep. The women breathe in this sacred stillness. Their bodies rest. Their spirits wander softly. Their minds sink deeper into a warm, soothing darkness that cradles them until the first light of dawn touches the edges of their rooms. Long before the sunrise, the palace is quiet, deeply quiet, holding every sleeping soul with tender care. And in this quiet, the women rest beautifully, peaceful, safe, wrapped in the ancient rhythm of Egypt's eternal night. As the night deepens inside the palace of the Pharaoh, the world grows unbelievably quiet. The warm glow of the setting sun slowly fades from the limestone walls, and the grand halls sink into a soft blue darkness. The palace, which felt alive during the day with footsteps, whispers, and the gentle movement of servants, now becomes a place of silence. A silence so comforting that it feels like a blanket laid over the entire kingdom. And inside this stillness, the women of the Pharaoh's palace begin to move into a slower rhythm, one meant only for the night. Imagine yourself walking slowly through the hallway with them. The tall columns cast long shadows on the polished floors. Oil lamps burn softly along the walls, their flames swaying gently, as if breathing with the palace. Their dim light creates a peaceful glow that touches everything with gold. The air is cooler now, carrying the faint smell of lotus and warm stone. And the sound of your own footsteps becomes the only sound you hear. Step by step, the night feels deeper, calmer, and more tender. Some women walk to the palace terrace to enjoy the night breeze. They look up at the sky where the stars shine brighter than any jewels they wear. The Nile reflects the moon like a piece of flowing silver. Down below, the city sleeps, and only the soft croaking of night frogs or the distant rustle of palm trees can be heard. One of the women breathes slowly, deeply, letting the night wrap around her. The calmness of the world reaches her bones, melting away the long hours of royal duties. This is the time no one asks anything of her. She belongs only to herself. Inside the chambers, another woman prepares for rest in a room filled with soft linens and gentle fragrances. A small bowl of scented oil burns beside her, sending thin trails of smoke rising upward like quiet prayers. She lies down on a cool woven mat or a wooden bed with linen sheets, breathing slowly as the weight of the day leaves her body. Her maid brushes her hair one last time, long and slow strokes that make her eyes grow heavy. When the brushing stops, even the silence feels tender, like a whisper that asks her to sleep. Farther down the hallway, two palace women sit together near a small open window. They are speaking softly, not gossiping, not worrying, just sharing quiet thoughts about the day. Their voices are low and warm, blending with the night like a soft melody. Sometimes they do not speak at all. They simply sit in peaceful company, listening to the hush of darkness around them. A gentle sigh escapes one of them, the kind that comes when the heart is finally calm. The night makes everything feel slower, softer, safer, and in the deepest part of the palace, the royal scribes finish their work for the day. They record the activities of the queen, the princesses, and other noble women. After dipping their reed pens one last time, they blow out their lamps and step away, leaving the room filled with the faint smell of ink and papyrus. Their footsteps fade until there is nothing left but stillness. It is in this stillness that the women of the palace find their truest sense of peace. As you walk slowly with them through these silent halls, you begin to feel your own body growing lighter, slower, softer. The halls become dimmer, the lamps burn quieter, The world feels like it's drifting gently into a dream. Every breath the palace takes becomes slower, deeper, more peaceful, and the night, heavy with calmness, settles into every corner, just like a warm, comforting embrace that tells you the day is finally over. Before the women of the Pharaoh's palace finally sink into sleep, there is a gentle rhythm they follow. A slow, graceful set of nightly rituals that prepare their minds and bodies for rest. These rituals are not rushed. They are not loud or busy. Instead, they feel like soft steps leading into a peaceful dream. Everything about this hour moves with care, as if the night itself is guiding their hands. Imagine one of the royal women entering a small chamber lit by only 2 oil lamps. The flames flutter softly on the walls, turning the room golden and warm. In the center sits a shallow bowl filled with cool, fragrant water. She dips her fingers in it, letting the ripples spread slowly across the surface. The scent of lotus, mixed with a hint of honey and almond, rises gently with the water. She closes her eyes and breathes in, letting the fragrance settle into her chest. For a moment, the whole day feels distant, softened, almost forgotten. Nearby, another woman rubs scented oil into her skin, not to show beauty, not for anyone else, but for comfort. The oil is smooth and warm, softened by the heat of her palms. She spreads it slowly across her arms and shoulders, letting the faint aroma of myrrh drift into the air. With each slow movement, her muscles relax, loosening tension she didn't know she carried. Her breathing deepens without her even trying. Her eyelids grow heavy. Every stroke is like a promise of rest. On the far side of the chamber, a young attendant prepares a small bundle of herbs wrapped in linen, mint, chamomile, and desert flowers, meant to soothe the spirit. She places it near the head of the sleeping mat, so its fragrance can drift gently as the night goes on. It's a small comfort, but in the palace, even the smallest comforts feel precious. She whispers a quiet good night to the woman she serves and leaves the room with soundless steps. In another part of the palace, 2 noble women sit together, brushing out their long hair. They take turns, one brushing slowly while the other closes her eyes. The wooden brush glides through strands with a soft, rhythmic sound. Shh, 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 like waves touching the riverbank. Their shoulders relax, their minds drift. There is something deeply tender in this simple nightly moment, a reminder that even in a grand palace, calmness often comes from the gentlest things. For some, the final ritual of the night is prayer, not a loud or formal one, just a quiet whisper to the goddess Hathor, patron of women, love, and protection. One palace woman kneels by a small shrine carved into the wall. A tiny flame flickers in a bowl of oil. She closes her eyes and thanks the goddess for guidance, safety, and another day of life. Her words are soft, almost like a breath. When she finishes, she touches her fingertips to her forehead, then to her heart. A warm peace settles over her chest as if someone has placed a soft hand there. Now the palace grows even quieter. Lamps are dimmed, steps become slower. Conversations end gently. Every woman completes her final task, then allows the night to carry her closer to sleep. The air feels heavier now, not with burden, but with stillness. A stillness that invites the mind to let go, to drift, to rest. And as you wander through these rooms in your imagination, you may notice that your own breath has slowed too. Your own thoughts have softened. The quiet rituals of these ancient women begin to echo in your own mind, drawing you toward the same peaceful calm they feel. As the final lamp flames shrink into soft golden dots across the palace, a deep and comforting hush settles over every hallway, every chamber, every stone pillar. It is the kind of silence that feels alive, not empty, but full of warmth, like a blanket gently lowering itself over the world. This is the hour when the royal women begin to drift into sleep, each in her own quiet space, each surrounded by the gentle peace of the palace night. Imagine a sleeping chamber washed in shadows, the air cool and still. A woman lies upon a finely woven mat, topped with soft linen that has been warmed earlier by the day's sunlight. She pulls a thin, light cover over herself, feeling it settle against her legs and arms like a gentle whisper. For the first time all day, her body becomes completely still. Her breathing evens out, slow and soft, rising and falling with the same rhythm as the quiet night around her. Nearby, another woman sleeps with her hand resting lightly on a small charm of Hathor. The charm is smooth and warm from her touch. As she lies on her side, the faint scent of the herbal bundle at her head surrounds her like a calm cloud. Mint, chamomile, and desert blossoms mix with the coolness of the night air. Each breath she takes draws her deeper into a peaceful space where nothing needs to be done, nothing needs to be decided. Only rest. In the next room, two sisters share a sleeping space divided by thin curtains. Their silhouettes lie still behind the fabric. One has already drifted into dreams, her lips resting in a faint, unconscious smile. The other rests awake for a moment longer, listening to the soft night sounds, the distant chirp of insects, the quiet settling of the palace stone, the faint brushing of linen as she shifts. Slowly, her eyes grow heavier. Her body sinks deeper. The world softens around her until she gently slides into sleep, joining her sister in silence. Further inside the palace, where the rooms become more private and quiet, a young noblewoman curls slightly on her mat, her hair spread around her like a dark halo. Earlier, her attendant brushed every strand until it fell smooth and silky. Now, as she sleeps, her hair carries the scent of lotus oil. The fragrance drifts with the movement of her breath, mixing with the cool desert night that slips through a small open window. Outside, the sky is deep indigo, scattered with stars so calm and steady that they look as if they are watching over her, keeping her safe in her dreams. And there is something deeply serene in the idea that each of these women, though living in a world of grandeur, rituals, and responsibility, ends her long day the same way we all do, with stillness, with breath, with the simple surrender to sleep. The palace, for all its beauty and power, becomes a place of softness in these hours. The stone walls that once echoed the sounds of footsteps and voices now stand silent, guarding the dreams of those within. If you listen carefully in your imagination, you might hear only the calm rhythm of sleep, slow breaths, quiet sighs, the peaceful silence that fills the long corridors. It is a silence that doesn't feel empty, but full of rest, of protection, of ancient comfort. And as you imagine these women drifting deeper and deeper into their slumber, You may notice that your own mind has grown quieter too. Your shoulders may loosen a little. Your breathing may soften. The calm of the Pharaoh's palace night begins to wrap gently around you as well, inviting you to follow them into your own peaceful rest. As the night settles into its deepest hour, the palace enters a stillness so complete that it almost feels like time has paused. Outside, the desert lies quiet and endless, holding its breath beneath the blanket of stars. Inside, every chamber of the palace glows faintly with the last traces of lantern light, flickering gently like memories fading into the soft darkness. It is in this sacred quiet that sleep becomes not just a moment of rest, but a gentle journey, one that carries each woman, and now you as well, into a world where the mind can breathe freely. Imagine walking slowly through one of the long palace corridors now. The stone beneath your feet feels cool and smooth. The air is soft, still touched with the faint scent of the incense burned earlier in the evening. Along the walls hang woven tapestries, their colors muted in the darkness, their stories sleeping quietly just like the people they were made to honor. Your steps make no sound. The silence is so peaceful that even the smallest noise feels too heavy to disturb it. So you continue in quiet, letting the hush of the palace surround you like a warm, invisible cloak. As you pass through an open archway, you enter an inner courtyard where moonlight spills gently onto white stone. The stars shimmer above, steady and bright, reflecting on the still surface of a small pool at the center. A palm tree leans over the water, its leaves hardly moving. The whole courtyard feels like a place where dreams come to rest before finding their way into the minds of those who sleep. You pause here for a moment, letting the softness of the scene settle inside you, letting the quiet night air move through you with every slow breath you take. Now imagine walking toward one of the private sleeping chambers of the royal women. You don't enter. You simply observe from the doorway, respecting the peace inside. A woman lies asleep on her mat, her breathing slow and gentle. Her hands rest lightly over her stomach, her face calm, almost glowing in the moonlight that slips through the window. The linen covering her rises and falls in a soft, rhythmic pattern. She is lost in dreams. Dreams shaped by the stories she heard, the prayers she whispered, the memories she carries, and the peace that has finally embraced her. Watching her sleep, you feel a soft wave of warmth inside your chest, as if the quiet of her rest is inviting you to find your own. In the next room, an older woman sleeps with a small clay lamp still burning beside her. Its flame dances faintly, casting warm shadows across her face. She has lived through seasons of joy, seasons of uncertainty, seasons of responsibility. Yet in this peaceful hour, all of it falls away. Her features are soft, relaxed in a way only sleep can create. It reminds you that rest is a kind of healing, a gentle return to oneself, a small promise that everything will be all right when dawn comes. You feel that promise unfolding inside you too. Across the palace, the youngest women sleep together, their mats arranged in a circle. The soft murmur of their breathing blends into a gentle harmony, like a quiet lullaby floating in the air. One of them turns in her sleep and draws her linen covering closer around her shoulders. Another murmurs something dreamlike and then sinks back into stillness. Their innocence fills the room, bright and warm, wrapping the whole space in a tender quietness. Standing nearby, you feel the same tenderness spreading across your mind, softening everything inside you. And now, as you slowly step back into the corridor, you notice your own body has grown heavier, your thoughts slower. The calm of the palace, the still stone, the soft moonlight, the quiet dreams, begins to melt into you. You feel it in your shoulders, in your chest, in the ease of your breath. This ancient place, with all its stories and silences, is gently guiding you toward your own rest. So let yourself sink into this feeling. Let the quiet settle deeper. Let the breath soften. You are safe. You are warm. You are wrapped in the same kind of peace that the women of the Pharaoh's palace feel as they drift through their dreams. Nothing is rushing you. Nothing is pressing on you. The night asks nothing from you except to let go. Just a little more, and a little more. As you imagine the final oil lamp flickering out in a distant chamber, allow the darkness to grow softer around you. Let the stars outside shine a little calmer. Let the quiet inside you widen, like a slow river of ease flowing through your mind. And now, when you are ready, you can close your eyes completely. Let the ancient palace fade gently into the background. Let the peaceful breath of the desert night carry you into your own dreams. Let everything soften, everything quiet, everything rest. Good night, my dear friends.